How's it going today, guys? Tomato here, and today I've got the top 10 video games that every gamer should play.
What? No!
With the help of some awesome YouTubers, I got some footage of each game. I didn't want to just bore snore you with just me talking, so I'll give you something to look at. So before I start rambling on too long, let's get this list going. Alright, game number 10 on the list is Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. In 1991, Sega made Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega Genesis, and it was beautiful. So we all know who Sonic is, the little blue hedgehog, runs around super fast. But this game is the game that started him off. Never before had a game had this many animations and this much stuff going on all at the same time. It was something completely unfounded. You had rings sitting there just twirling, twirling, twirling. Nobody had seen that before. You have these creatures all running back and forth all over the place. You have stuff in the background moving. You have stuff all over the foreground moving. Sonic's moving. You've got downs, you got rolls, you've got spins, you got jumps, you got everything. Another thing Sonic had that most games at this time did not have was a bonus level system that interacted with the main storyline. At the end of each level, if you had collected enough rings, you could go to the little bonus level where you were able to collect a Chaos Emerald. And if you had collected enough Chaos Emeralds, you would eventually be able to go into Supersonic mode. That was something that was not done before. Like most games, this game had a leveling system, each one getting more difficult, and then always having that threat of having to start completely over once all of your lives ran out. That was always the worst feeling. Once you get to the end zone, and then you're dead. Dr. Robotnik comes out of that freaking spikes thing machine he has, and then he's just like, and you're like, no, that's my last life, that's my last ring. Though the game lacked in a bit of a storyline, like most games back then did, it still had the sense like you knew what you needed to do, and you knew that Dr. Robotnik was this evil dude, and you like, no, I can't stand for that. This guy's taking all these little furry creatures and putting them up in this little thing, and I don't like that, so you gotta take this guy out. If you're a fan of first-person shooters, then you're gonna like number 9 on the list, Doom. Now when I say first-person shooter, what is the first game that comes to mind? Probably COD. You're one of those. When I say first-person shooter, the first thing that usually comes to mind is Doom. This is the first-person shooter I ever played. I'd actually played Doom 64 before I played the first Doom. Doom had its start on the Microsoft DOS system in 1993 from a company known as ID. When Doom was released, it was shareware because ID wanted to make it reach as many people as possible. They knew back then they didn't have all these commercials, they didn't have all this media being able to sponsor this game like we do now. Doom was a game that had brought so many unique enemies and so many unique story/plot lines. And you had all these different unique weapons too, so that you weren't just getting bored with a pistol or a shotgun. You had a freaking chainsaw at one point. You had a grenade launcher, flamethrower, I'm pretty sure at one point. They found a way to keep you entertained with a first-person shooter, especially back in that age. Now, I personally do not like the racing games. I feel like most of them have gotten redundant over the years. Forza coming out with a new one every year, Forza 2, Forza Horizon 2, blah 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 blah. And it's just getting annoying. But that being said, number 8 on the list is Need for Speed Underground for the PS2. You know, as a kid, this was the coolest game you could play at your friend's house. You'd go over and see what kind of car he had created, and you're like, oh, my car is so much cooler than your car. And he's like, yeah, we'll watch this. And then takes it out on the street, hits that NOS button, just flies off. Oh, come on, you know you did that as a kid. That was the coolest stuff. Need for Speed was one of the first racing games where you got to actually completely customize your own car. Completely, from scratch, customize your own car. You had Midnight Club around this time. You didn't really get to customize your car as pick a template and then change the color and this and that. Whereas this one, it was just like, yo, pick a car and then you go make your own thing. And that was really cool at that time. And for me, it opened up my eyes to RPGs, which is one reason I like RPGs so much. Alright, game number 7 on our list is going to be Fallout 3. Now imagine you're thrown into this post-apocalyptic world, right? And you're allowed to do anything you want. Kill anybody you want. Steal anything you want. Blow up anything you want. You can do anything you want. Alright? That's what Bethesda did with this game, right here. You're stationed in a post-apocalyptic Washington, D.C. after escaping Vault 101 looking for your dad, who turns out to be Liam Neeson. Bethesda created this franchise and it exploded. Fallout hysteria is everywhere, and it still is everywhere, especially with the announcement of Fallout 4 coming out pretty soon. Which we're all so excited for. Bethesda just does great with RPGs, and they're known to have the best RPGs there are. Elder Scrolls, Fallout. One thing that made Fallout 3 really great was it was kind of semi-horror, there was always those times when you would see something like, I don't really like that. Like, I remember one point where I walked into a school and there was like this cage and there were like children's skeletons all over the ground. But just the fact that it's an RPG set in the real world and you can literally do anything, and it has actual monuments. You can go see the Washington Monument, you can see the White House, you can see all of these things, and it's like you're actually in a post-apocalyptic Washington D.C. It's just Bethesda blew everybody away, and they're going to continue to blow people away. All right, number 6 on our list is going to be Knights of the Old Republic for the original Xbox. Knights of the Old Republic was created by BioWare, who has also created the Mass Effect series, which phenomenal. Holy crap. Knights of the Old Republic allowed you to become a Jedi, or Sith if you preferred, and you could go through the Star Wars universe. Who didn't want to go through the Star Wars universe as a kid watching Star Wars? You're like, I wish I could do that. I want to be in the Millennium Falcon. I want to fly. Well, now you can do that with Knights of the Old Republic. You get to travel the Star Wars universe, meet all these amazing characters. You can have droids as your partners. You can have other Jedi as your partners. You can have bounty hunters. You can have whoever as your partner. One thing that I found lacking in KOTOR was the combat system, which is the same way that they do it in Dragon Age, which is also developed by BioWare. Whereas you just hit the button and then they do their technique or their combat or whatever it is, rather than actually engaging in the combat. Aside from that, the storyline, completely perfect. Character development, completely perfect. Mechanics, completely perfect. In that day and age, there was not a more perfect game. Let me put it at that. Number 5 on our list is going to be Grand Theft Auto Vice City. While many people hail GTA 3 as the game that brought GTA into the mainstream, I hail it as Vice City. GTA 3 was the game that brought it onto console games, yes, but Vice City is the game that turned it into GTA. Vice City was the game that turned Grand Theft Auto into an M-rated game. Just from the loading screen, you knew what you were going to get yourself into. I mean, half-naked hookers all over the place. Those were things that you didn't see, that weren't as prevalent in GTA 3 as they were in Vice City. Pretty much, if I had to compare Vice City to anything, it would be a Playboy magazine. This is the game that you would hide under your bed or in your closet so your parents didn't find it. But we all knew each other played it. Dude, I just blew up 5 cop cars with 1 grenade last night. It was freaking epic. I grabbed the tank and then just rolled over all of them. That was the game we were playing. Started getting into some more classics. Number 4 on the list is going to be Super Mario World for the SNES. This was the game that created perfectionists. Everybody wanted to get that 100% complete ratio on this game, and it was so difficult. There would always be, you'd get to the end and you thought you did all of the secrets and you got all the Star World and you did everything, and you get to the end and you beat Bowser and then you have like 97%, and you're like, how did I miss something? So then you have to go back and you have to find where you missed, but we all enjoyed it, especially if there was another person there with you. 2-player in that with Luigi, there's nothing compares to that. Number 3 on our list is ye old Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. This was the game of my childhood, as well as I know the game of many other people's childhoods. Sometimes hailed as the greatest game of all time. It's for good reason. You got to travel between 2 worlds, you got to see Link grow up, you got to experience all this music. I mean, Bolero of Fire is still like something that I listen to on a regular basis. I mean, the Zelda soundtrack, just on any Zelda game, really is something to behold. You always had that constant, hey, hey, hey! But we all loved it. We missed it. After the game was finished, you're like, man, I really want a Navi. But I mean, you get to travel through time. You get to see a world from 2 different perspectives. A world ravaged in evil, and then a world enveloped in purity. And it's genius, honestly. It all flowed together, you knew what you needed to do, even though it never really told you, because nobody ever pressed the up C button to listen to Navi. Odes to you, Silent Link. Okay, number 2 on the list. It had to be on here. It did. It's gonna be Skyrim. Skyrim has become the staple of video games. Think about it. Any game that comes out, especially in the RPG field, is automatically compared to Skyrim. Well, the map's about as big as Skyrim's map. There's about as many weapons as Skyrim. You get this companion that's like Skyrim. It has become the video game to be. And throwing magic, dual wielding, shields, shouts, controlling dragons, fighting dragons. It was completely mind blowing. Everything we were expecting it to be. And it lived up to its name. And it still lives up to its name. I just started a new game the other week. Okay. Here we are. The #1 game that every gamer needs to play. It's actually a multitude of games. And it's Pokemon. I don't care who you are, where you are, what you do, who you know Pokemon. And though you may not like Pokemon, maybe you don't know Pokemon that well, but everybody can readily recognize Pikachu. And therefore Pokemon has embedded itself into not only the gaming community, but just society as a whole. It's become the mainstream in the entertainment industry. Not only is it in the video game platforms, but it's also on movies. You got TV shows, you got fabric lines, you have card games, everything. Anything you can think of, there's Pokemon. Pokemon books, there's anything you can think of. So not only is it embedded in our society, but it's fun. It's just plain fun. It's just a fun environment, it's a fun atmosphere, and they're amazing people to be around. And I highly recommend anybody that hasn't played Pokemon, try it out. Just do it. Just pick one up, try it out. Ask your friend to borrow one. I'm sure they'll let you do it. They've beaten that game 50 times over anyways. They have all their stuff saved on the Pokebank. Ask them. Just ask them. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed my list. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. If there should be any changes, any add-ons, any deletions, just let me know. Also, I left a link in the description that leads to an article that I wrote over the list. It goes more in depth with each game. I wrote a little bit here and there about what I think of each game. There's also a poll that you guys can take to see if there's any games that I should have added on. Check it out if you want. It's not a requirement. I'm not going to hate you. You won't break my heart. But I'd really appreciate it. Okay, I also need to give a huge shout out to all of the awesome YouTubers that lent their footage to this video. So Andromeda Dude, David Dude 231, Games and Critics, J Ron's World, Caravolin, Mac Daddy Nook, Mishi, Museo Gamer, Sam Radford, Scorbus Gaming, Turper Finn, Turbid TG1, and Shiny Arcanine 713. Thank you so much for allowing me to use your game footage for this video. I also have a link to all of their YouTube channels down in the description. They all do amazing videos and well worth the watch. So check them out if you have the time. Alright, with that I say sayonara, thanks for watching, and as always, Tomato out.